talk about one of the crucial organs in our body, our kidneys. Our kidneys filter waste from our blood and perform other functions to maintain our body's homeostasis. In order to understand this really crucial organ, let us take a look on its structures and how they function. The kidney is surrounded by the fibrous capsule which provides support for the soft tissues inside. Unfortunately, the fibrous capsule is not seen in our kidney sample, so it is illustrated by the inserted image. But we should be able to easily locate it just outside the kidney's exterior. The upper part is the superior pole. This is the inferior pole. The lateral margin and the medial margin. The indented part is the hilum region, which contains three structures. The renal artery carries oxygenated blood from the heart to the kidneys for filtration. The renal vein transports the oxygenated blood away from the kidneys back to the heart. And the ureter transports urine from the kidneys to the bladder for storage. Inside the kidney, this outer layer is the renal cortex, the solid-looking outermost part of the kidney. It contains many small arteries and veins that carry blood to and from approximately 1 million nephrons located in the cortex. As we move inwards, we can see the renal medulla. Each segment that you can see in this region is the renal pyramids. They contain the collecting ducts which collect urine from the kidney tubules of the nephrons in the cortex. These are the renal columns, which separates the renal pyramids and provide support to the kidney structure to facilitate the efficient flow of blood and urine. Feeding into the center is the renal pelvis. Extensions of the pelvis are the calyxes, veins that enclose the tip of the renal pyramids. They collect urine which continuously drains from the tips of the pyramids into the renal pelvis, which then drains into the ureter, which transports the excretory products out of the kidney towards the urinary bladder.
Now we go to the summary of the pathway of renal blood vessels. So we have the blood flow from the aorta to the glomerulus. So here we start in the aorta. So what is an aorta? So the aorta is the main artery that carries the oxygenated blood away from the heart. So that is the aorta. So then the aorta, since it's the largest artery in our body, it's the one that carries the oxygenated blood away to the heart to the rest of our body. Then we have the renal artery. So here in the renal artery, the second part of our pathway of the renal blood vessels, so it branches off the aorta. So basically this supplies the blood to the kidneys, in where these branches are the ones that carries blood to the kidneys specifically, and this blood is already oxygenated and is already rich in nutrients, but also have waste products. Then we have the segmental artery. The segmental artery, basically this is the division, or basically it splits the segmental arteries, which the function of the renal artery that splits the segmental arteries. This supplies the different parts of the kidney, or the segments that we call them. So in here, this branching, the segmental artery, is basically allows the blood distribution to the different areas of the kidney. Next, here in the interlobal artery, basically this is between the renal pyramids. When we say renal pyramids, basically this is in the renal medulla. You can see over here, this looks triangular. This is what they call the renal pyramids. So the segmental arteries function is basically branched into the interlobal arteries. So basically the interlobal artery runs between the renal pyramids. So as you can tell, again here, these are cone shaped. When you say cone shape, basically triangular or cone shape, but it gives more of that shape, because if it's a triangle, it's more sharp on the edge, but yeah, it's just that. And then this interlobal artery extend into the renal medulla, basically the inner layer of the kidney. As stated before, this is where they lie. Next, we have the arcuate artery. So the arcuate artery, basically this is the base of the renal pyramids that they arch over. So as like the others, the interlobal arteries basically is branched also as the arcuate artery. They branch off each other, and here they become the arcuate arteries. So basically these arteries are located between the renal cortex and medulla, as you can see over here. Next, we have the cortical radiate artery. So as stated here on this artery, basically this radiates outward from the arcuate arteries into the renal cortex. Okay, so here is the renal cortex. Again, this is the renal cortex on this part. Then we have the cortical radiate artery over here. So this basically, the renal cortex is the outer layer of the kidney. This is the part, and these arteries basically supply the blood to the nephrons, the functional units of the kidney. This is what we call the nephrons. Next, we have the afferent arteriole. So the keyword between the afferent and efferent arterioles, you can define them as the first letter. So the afferent, we have A. This means enters into the glomerulus. However, if for the E, this basically means exits, which means exits the glomerulus. So going back, we have the afferent arteriole, which enters the glomerulus. When we say glomerulus, basically this is a network of capillaries, and this is where the filtration occurs. So like stated earlier, the cortical radiate also branches off to the afferent arterioles. They branch off each other. That then enters the glomerulus. So the afferent arteriole is the one responsible that carries blood into the glomerulus, where it is filtered. Of course, we're now at the glomerulus right over here. So this one will be, we were going ahead to the inferior vena cava. So glomerulus to the inferior vena cava. So first we start with the glomerulus. So the glomerulus, when the blood is filtered in the glomerulus, the waste and products are removed. This is the part where, since as stated before, filtration is the one that disposes or removes waste. So the glomerulus is actually a ball of capillaries surrounded by a Bowman's capsule. So within high pressure inside the glomerulus, basically it pushes out or forces out water and small solutes. So here we have the peritubular capillaries. So the peritubular capillaries basically is the one that surrounds the renal tubules. Peritubial capillaries. So basically this capillary is the one responsible for reabsorption and secretion. So this capillary is basically the afferent arteriole that branches into these capillaries. These are the tiny tubes in the kidney, which are the renal tubes. That's the definition. Again, these peritubial capillaries are the ones essential for the reabsorption of nutrients and the water back to our blood. And of course, this is the secretion of waste products. So the cortical radiate vein, basically this one is responsible for, or it functions the way it collects blood from the peritubular capillaries. Basically goes to the arcuate vein. So here in the arcuate vein, right over here, is the one that collects blood from the cortical veins. So basically they collect each other. So cortical radiate vein collects from the peritubular capillaries, and the arcuate vein is the one collecting the blood from the cortical radiate veins. So basically this collects them, and after that, the collection of that, we have the interlobar vein. So in the interlobar vein, basically the one also collects the blood from the arcuate vein. So basically it's like a transfer process or transportation process. So they're the one that collects blood from the arcuate veins, and then we have the renal vein. So the renal vein is the one that collects the blood from the interlobal veins. Now this one drains into the inferior vena cava. So in the interlobal vein, as stated before, they all converge into renal vein, while the arcuate vein converges into interlobal vein, and vice versa. It's like that kind of process where they're transporting blood to each other. And here, again, going back to the renal vein, this collects blood from the interlobal vein and then drains it into the inferior vena cava. Inferior vena cava. The inferior vena cava, this is the main vein that carries the oxygenated blood back to the heart. So inferior vena cava, basically this collects the deoxygenated blood below or the lower parts of our body and puts it back to the heart. So basically is the one responsible that carries these deoxygenated blood to the heart to be oxygenated through the heart. So in summary, the blood flow of these renal veins is good for the filtration. The kidneys or the renal veins are the ones that returns filtered blood to the heart, and the pathway vessels in the kidney are the one that gives the filtration, reabsorption, and secretion processes, as stated with the earlier functions of the parts of the kidney. And of course, after this being drained from the inferior vena cava, it goes back to the heart and the process will begin again. So the flow of kidney, again, is good, which is essential for our fluid and electrolyte balance. Of course, there's other functions of kidney, such as maintaining blood pressure, also the production of erythropoietin, which is the production of red blood cells, since actually we do this vice versa process of the heart and the kidney, and also the conversion of vitamin D in its active form. So we have also the homeostasis. Basically, it actually is one of those three already. We have the stated before, the water balance, the electrolyte balance. We also have the acid-base balance because, of course, there's filtration going on. We also have the blood pressure, and then we have, as stated, those three: blood pressure, red blood cell production through the erythropoietin, and the activation of vitamin D. Those are the functions of our kidney regulations. So that's it. Thank you everyone for watching our video about the kidney structures, and that it gives us the insight and importance about the filtration, reabsorption, and secretion of these kidneys, and that is very important. This organ plays a vital role for our body fluids, homeostasis balance, our water balance, electrolytes, and stated before, our red blood cell production. And let us take care of our kidney, since we now know the importance of this organ, and is very essential the way it also filters out waste and how we urinate this waste out of our system. And with kidneys, their valuable importance, without them, this organ, we might cause a lot of dysfunctions or problems in our body. So let's take care of ourselves and let's take care of our kidneys. Thank you for watching.